Prey is a phenomenal game from start to finish, but its first 10 minutes or so have always been the part that particularly stands out to me. There are so many hints something strange is going on that are incredibly easy to miss, and in general, it's an absurdly well crafted piece of work. A good while ago I analysed its introduction in detail, hit the card on screen now to check that out, but I did miss a fair few things, and so this video is less a critique and more a quick-fire list of every single unsettling detail you might have missed. The first thing you hear is main character Morgan Yu's alarm clock.
Good morning, Morgan. Today is Monday, March 15th, 2032.
And his TV nearby also displays the same date of March 15th, 2032, just in case you weren't paying attention. That makes the encyclopedia of food science and cooking in the kitchen feel rather out of place. Its instructions regarding how to cook salmon are certainly normal enough, however, the date it was published isn't. It was apparently released in 2033, a full year into the future. This one isn't an unsettling detail per se, but it's still worth mentioning as its great attention to detail. Depending on who you choose to play as, when you head to the bathroom, the toilet seat will be up for male Morgan and down for female Morgan. Also, note their temporarily red eyes when the screen flashes during the character select menu, which hints at their neuromod usage. If you look out the window at the frankly gorgeous view, you can see a gaggle of pigeons who seem to appear from exactly the same place over and over again. I've sped up this footage a tad so it's easier to witness. They follow the same flight path every time and disperse in exactly the same manner, which, unless I know far less about pigeons than I think I do, is not at all normal behaviour. We'll also return to the pigeons very shortly. You might observe several sets of scuff marks on the floor. They could be waved away as general wear and tear, I suppose, but what's far weirder are the drag marks near certain walls, such as by Morgan's bed and in the hallway outside. It's almost as if something has been moving over them. Speaking of the hallway, an engineer named Patricia Varner is out there working away, and if you exhaust all her dialogue options, she makes it sound very much like events are predetermined.
Heard there's a chopper on the roof. Must be for you. You'll have to take the elevator. Down the hall, but you know that, I guess. Aren't you going to be late? You're supposed to keep going. You're going to get me in trouble. I can't talk to you anymore.
This next one I'd guess few will have spotted, as you really have to be on the ball to notice it. If you take an object and leave it outside the elevator, then get in the elevator and ride it to the roof, it will still be there when you get out, despite you having apparently travelled 7 floors up. Things get even weirder once you go out on the roof. If you take the object you left outside the elevator and throw it, or indeed any other item you might have brought with you, off the building, it will bounce right back. Once in the helicopter which ferries you to work, a very strange glitch of sorts occurs. It's tricky to get a good look at it normally, so here it is with the footage slowed down a lot. And here's the same clip playing at normal speed, so you understand just how brief the incident is. I've never been entirely sure whether it's an intentional inclusion or a genuine glitch which has simply never been patched, but for the sake of completeness, I wanted to make sure I highlighted it either way. There's a second important detail right before the helicopter ride ends. Looking out the window, you get your best look at some of the pigeons you were watching earlier, who look quite odd. In fact, you might go so far as to say they look a little low-res. Some of you may still be on the fence about this one in particular, but I can assure you it is intended and is not just lazy visual design. Soon after, you can find a computer which confirms the pigeon visuals have had issues due to a glitch in their rendering data. Entering the TranStar testing facility, a science operator robot greets you. If you exhaust its dialogue options, it begins to glitch out.
Everyone's eager to see what you're capable of, Dr. Yu. I know I am. I'm sure your brother is waiting for you. All our labs meet the minimum. Strange. That's never happened before. I'll have to file a maintenance request.
It's almost as if it wasn't designed to respond to you that many times. Similarly to Morgan's apartment, there are also more drag marks against different walls and plenty of scuff marks on the floor. Them appearing in 2 different, completely separate locations is somewhat disconcerting to say the least. Taking part in the ensuing tests, the researchers get increasingly confused by your actions despite there being little else you can do. That's because you're meant to be using the appropriate alien neuromods for each, but as it later turns out, they hadn't been installed at all. You also tackle the trolley problem, a series of ethics questions asking you to choose between saving one life or many. It seems out of place until you play Prey all the way through and realise the entire game is essentially one massive trolley problem itself. You might also be able to spot a lit room in the background which looks surprisingly like your apartment. That is, of course, impossible, but the resemblance is definitely uncanny. The tests conclude with researcher Sylvain Bellamy being killed by a Typhon, your alien adversary, for the duration of Prey.
In a moment, I'm going to ask you what... is my coffee? It's empty.
Oh my god! It's burning!
Try to remember what his corpse looks like, as it will become relevant momentarily. After being gassed, you awake in Morgan's apartment once again. The date may still be the same, March 15th, 2032, but the placement of objects in the apartment hasn't remained consistent. This bottle of booze and a congratulations letter from your brother, for example, was on one kitchen counter at the start of the opening, but in the present has been moved. Checking your computer, all your emails have also now been replaced by 6 identical messages, all with the subject line, "Danger, leave now." Incidentally, Morgan's password is F-paradox, referring to the Fermi paradox, and that makes sense given you can find a book on that very topic in the apartment. Like the toilet earlier, it's not an unsettling detail, but it is a nice bit of environmental consistency. Taking the email's advice and heading back into the hallway, you'll find poor old Patricia Varma, and if the demise of researcher Bellamy is still fresh in your mind, which it should be, it happened 1 minute ago, you'll recognise that both corpses look concerningly similar. Somehow the hallway has changed shape too, with a wall blocking access to the elevator entirely. The drag marks found on the floor here, there and everywhere may begin to make a lot more sense at this point, and your suspicions will be confirmed a little later on. It's now finally time to escape, and after picking up Patricia's wrench and wondering what to do for a second or two, you'll hopefully eventually smash the window leading to your balcony, at which point all is revealed. That's not the only way you can escape though. There's also a fish tank in the hallway those thinking outside the box can use to break free, and you can also smash this nice display inside the apartment to get a glimpse of the outside, although the crack is too small for you to actually crawl through. Exploring outside the apartment, it quickly becomes clear that you've been living the same day repeatedly, with events playing out across an intricately designed simulation. Every day is the 15th of March 2032, and every day you travel to a fake TranStar training facility to take part in the same tests. It's an extraordinary sequence which sets the tone for the entire game, and I highly recommend giving Prey a go if you ever have the time. It's one of the best video game introductions I've ever had the pleasure of playing. And as always, while I hope I have managed to catch every single detail, do also let me know if you think there's anything I've missed as part of Prey's spectacularly unsettling opening. Thanks for watching the video, boys, girls and scientists trapped in fake apartments. If you enjoyed yourself, do consider liking, subscribing and sharing your thoughts, and hopefully we'll catch up again soon.